Save the date, because something extraordinary and spiritually powerful will happen, uniting millions of hearts under a single purpose, echoing an enchanting message that Our Lady has reserved precisely for this moment of global need. It's not just about observing the beauty of the moon, but about participating in a massive act of faith and supplication that breaks through the barriers of daily life, because the Mother exhorts us that it is through fraternity and forgiveness that we will find the path to inner and collective peace that we so desperately seek, ensuring that the cycle of worries and discord is broken, opening space for a future of light and hope. Before the full message is revealed and you discover the full depth of this event of grace, write in the comments now the names of all the relatives and people you love who urgently need intervention, because we will add each of these names to the main prayer we will say with the Holy Rosary. The essence of the message that shines in the moon on November 8th is not merely for contemplation, but for coordinated action, acting as an immense beacon of hope that aims to unite hearts strategically. Our Lady uses this moment of cosmic convergence to synchronize the cry of countless souls who will simultaneously ask for peace in the world and for reconciliation within their own homes, basing her intercession on the idea that there is no separation between the global battle and the individual suffering that occurs within our four walls. She calls us to the reality that we are all brothers and sisters, navigating the same storm, and that the spiritual strength achieved through the communion of prayers on this specific day acquires an unprecedented intensity, capable of creating a field of grace that acts directly against the forces of discord and war that attempt to dominate the planet and, in a microcosmic way, try to destroy the family foundation through constant misunderstanding and lack of dialogue. This is the moment when fraternity becomes tangible, an invisible bond that forms between you and your neighbor, under the maternal light that ensures that no lament rises to the heavens unaccompanied, but that all are amplified by the power of unity. Within the spiritual strategy proposed for November 8th, the central and non-negotiable pillar for unlocking blessings for the future is the courageous and liberating practice of forgiveness, because the Mother, in her wisdom, knows that there is no real peace nor prosperous future that can be sustained on hearts burdened with resentment and unresolved grievances, especially those accumulated within the family, where the wounds, being the deepest, also generate the most terrible divisions. The invitation is to use the energy of collective prayer on this day as leverage to release those who have offended us, and even to forgive ourselves for our past mistakes. For it teaches us that holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy anchor that hinders our spiritual progress and attracts stagnant energy to the home. Our Lady insists that forgiving is not about erasing the past or accepting the offense, but rather making the most important decision of all, prioritizing the peace of our hearts and the health of our future, freeing ourselves from the chains of bitterness so that the light of grace can finally flow freely, illuminating all areas that previously seemed trapped and barren. The plea of Our Lady, conveyed on this symbolic date, transcends simple prayer and the inner act of forgiveness, transforming itself into a vigorous imperative of active charity and selfless assistance to others, proving that faith is only fully realized when it translates into tangible acts of love and service to those in need. The Mother reminds us that the fraternity called upon the world cannot be mere words. It needs to be demonstrated in daily life, whether by visiting the sick, helping a family member facing financial difficulties, or offering time and patience to listen to the outpouring of someone who feels completely alone and hopeless, because often the most significant act of charity is not the one that involves money, but rather the investment of our own lives in the comfort of others. She desires that the rosary prayed on this November 8th carry the intention not only of receiving blessings, but primarily of becoming an instrument of blessings in the lives of others, acting as a transformative force that reverses selfishness and directs the focus to the real needs of a world that has forgotten the basic principle of mutual love. By participating in this collective act of prayer, forgiveness, and charity, we are automatically restructuring our plans for our future and that of our family, ensuring a powerful intervention that Our Lady promised to those who embrace her message and seek the union of hearts. This is not a magical promise for quick enrichment, but rather the guarantee of a profound spiritual and emotional stability that allows us to walk safely even in the face of the storms and uncertainties that modern life imposes. The Mother intercedes so that the most important decisions about employment, life changes, or the destiny of our children are made under the illumination of divine grace, eliminating corrosive doubts and guiding our steps with clarity. This November movement of faith strengthens hope, allowing the light of conversion to touch the hardest and most resistant hearts within our family, those for whom we have prayed for so long, because the concentration of energy and devotion is so great that it dissolves obstacles that seemed insurmountable, paving the way for a future of unwavering faith. It is crucial to understand that the current world constantly tries to pull us towards inertia, spiritual isolation, and the feeling that our problems are unique and too big to be solved. But the call to look at the moon on November 8th and pray together with millions is Our Lady's answer against this destructive temptation of individualism, reminding us that strength lies in alliance and in the certainty that we do not walk alone, because faith only becomes powerful when shared. Many people may think that prayer is useless or that their lives are condemned to the vicious cycle of family discord and lack of progress, but the message of this special day comes precisely to break this chain of negative thinking. It wants us to understand that the first step towards change is not perfection, but rather the sincere desire to adhere to the plan of fraternity, requiring only a humble and available heart to begin the process of healing and transformation. This unified act of prayer on this day acts as a watershed that takes us out of our spiritual comfort zone, demanding that we deepen our faith to reap the fruits of peace. The result of sincere participation in this cry for peace and forgiveness that Our Lady exhorts on November 8th does not end on that specific night. It extends, forming a true mantle of permanent protection over those who have accepted and practiced her message, serving as a spiritual shield that cushions the negative impacts of external and internal crises, both for the world and for their families, which become spiritually stronger and more cohesive. When millions of people forgive, help, and cry out in synchronicity, the spiritual atmosphere of the planet changes, and this grace directly spills into our homes, raising the energy of the environment and expelling the influences that promote division and sadness. Therefore, this prayer event becomes a milestone in our journey of faith, signaling the beginning of a new cycle where the virtues of unity, charity, and perseverance become the solid foundation upon which we will build our dreams and the future of our descendants, aligned with the divine will of peace and mutual love. The overwhelming force of Our Lady's message, captured on November 8th, should not be an isolated event, but rather the catalyst for a daily practice of prayer and forgiveness, for true faith is built on perseverance, where each morning is a new opportunity to don the armor of prayer and go out into the battlefield of life with a heart determined to love and forgive, transforming us into living preachers of charity, and not just mere spectators. The Mother desires that the fire lit on this special day fuel our daily rosary prayers, making it an even more powerful weapon to ask for those difficult conversions, for that peace that stubbornly eludes us, and for the increase of our own faith in the face of challenges. Daily forgiveness of small failings in relationships, extending a hand to those who least deserve it, and having peace in our hearts even in the face of provocation are the most precious fruits we can offer her. Remember, our rosary will be even more powerful, so reinforce now in the comments the names of those people you know and love who need this special prayer so that we can add them to the main list. We have reached the end of this profound reflection on Our Lady's message reserved for this time of crisis and the importance of November 8th as a landmark of spiritual unity. And what is evident is that the transformation of our lives and the world depends on our choice to embrace forgiveness and fraternity as daily practices. Now we want to know from you. Which point of this message touched your heart most deeply? Was it the urgency of forgiveness in the family? The promise of protection for your future? Or the practical call to help your neighbor? Leave your sincere comment below, as your opinion is vital to this community of faith. And if you felt that this message spoke directly to your soul and inspired you to seek a future of greater peace, show your support. Like this video so that this powerful exhortation reaches even more people, and subscribe to the channel so that we can continue growing on this journey of faith and curious events that strengthen our belief. May the Mother's protection always be with you and your family.